everybody! So today we thought we would do something a little different, and we thought that we would talk about kind of our experiences of moving to New York, because we came here for different reasons, kind of. And then, you know, like the process of moving here and kind of adjusting to the lifestyle and how different it is from what we grew up with. So we thought it would be a little interesting to talk about, and maybe some of you were thinking about moving to New York at some point in your life, and this could help you.
Yeah, so we were born and raised in Dallas, Texas. So, you know, we're not unfamiliar from the city life. Contrary to most people's belief, we didn't, you know, ride horses to school or, you know, anything like that. Wear cowboy hats and cowboy boots.
I've never owned a cowboy hat in my life.
No. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Dallas isn't that much different from New York as far as city to city, but there are some definite things that stand out about New York that are way different than any other city in the United States, or, you know, even in the world.
So I moved here for college, or university as some people call it. So I had a little bit of a buffer in adjusting to New York life, because I was kind of like in my own little like school bubble. So I lived in the dorm my freshman year, so I didn't have to go through like finding an apartment right away, and it was all just kind of a little bit easier than it would be for some people. So I moved here on my own. Ashley wasn't with me, but I had been to New York several times before, so I wasn't a stranger to it. I had ridden the subway, I had been around, I had seen a lot of things, so it's not like I was walking into this like brand new place.
I moved here for a job, slash I always wanted to live in New York. I had visited here and I had lived here before for a brief period of time in college doing an internship in the city. So I was very familiar already walking in with, you know, the lifestyle and kind of what I was getting myself into. So I joined Shelby here her second year of college, and again I was here for work, and you know, it was a interesting experience trying to move and find an apartment here. It is not an easy task.
No.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
So finding an apartment here is completely different from finding an apartment pretty much anywhere else in the world. Usually you can, like, especially in Texas, you can just like walk into a place and you just like sign a contract and maybe like a $200 deposit, if that, you know, which is not a big deal. There's no background checks, there's no references, there's nothing like that. You just, if you want the apartment and you can afford the rent, you get the apartment. It is completely not how it is here.
My advice is know kind of what neighborhood you want to look in, but don't be so stuck on neighborhoods, because really at the end of the day it's going to be what you can afford and what's available.
Yeah.
So do your research. There's a really good website called Street Easy. That's kind of like our go-to reference tool for trying to find and locate apartments.
We also know some of the big like management companies, which we can touch on a little bit later. So we sometimes will go to their websites directly and see like what apartments they have available. That's how we did the one we're currently in.
So we found both of our apartments on our own without a broker.
Because a broker will cost you
a lot.
About $20,000 to $25,000, and that's just the broker themselves. That's not even on top of anything else. That's just the broker fee.
And in this day and age, it's really not necessary.
No.
Because you can find everything, like if you're willing to put in the legwork, you can find everything that you need yourself online. Now if you have a big budget and you're very short on time, by all means use a broker. I mean, it's just you're paying for that convenience of somebody doing all the work for you.
And just a little side note, this is like for us renting the apartment ourselves and us kind of being in charge of it. A lot of people do what's called a sublet, where like somebody else is like on the lease and everything like that, and they rent out the room to you. We wanted to be on the lease. We wanted our own apartment, so this does make it harder. If you're by yourself, you don't have a lot of stuff, you don't care about like having a like home per se, you don't want to make it like a homely place.
You're okay with kind of plopping in most cases to like somebody else's apartment's extra room that you may or may not know,
which is what a lot of people here do, but we just chose not to go that route because we wanted kind of our like home base apartment. So this does make it harder. You can do it more easily and sublet, but Yeah, so we found, well, the first apartment that we were in, we looked at a bunch of apartments. We came here in the summer between my freshman and sophomore year. I went home for the summer, but we came back for like a week where we were like, we have to sign a lease, like we have to find one.
And that's the toughest period in the city to find because everybody's trying to move right then. And so there is the least apartments available during, you know, June, July, with the most people trying to look. So that's fun.
Yeah.
A fun challenge.
So we settled on the Upper East Side because really you get the most space for your money up here. Even the Upper West Side is a little more expensive than Upper East Side. One of the kickers with that apartment was that we were on the 6th floor and it was a walk-up. So every time we left and every time we came home, we had to walk up 6 flights of stairs. So,
but we saved a lot of money on gym membership.
We did. Now we pay for a gym membership because we're on the 1st floor. But yeah, so long story short, we found the apartment, but it is a lot of money. You have to put down a security deposit, which is usually half the rent, half a month's rent is a security deposit, I think.
Sometimes it's a whole month's rent, actually.
And so you have that, which could be half or whole rent, plus you have to pay a total first and last month's rent. And, what was that it? That might be it.
Yeah, first and last in security.
Yeah. Which can easily,
but I mean, rent's expensive.
Depending on how much your rent is, you know, that can be like $15,000 that you have to have in cash and hand over to these places. Like, is that not insane? Like, so I think that kind of covers everything about like finding an apartment and rent and everything. Just be prepared to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Also, what we forgot to mention in the apartment stuff is you will 99% of the time need a guarantor to sign on the lease with you because they expect you, it depends on the building and like the management company, but a lot of times they want your total like income in the apartment. So that can be like with all 3 of us, like that's adding everything together. What is it, like 45 times the rent? Yeah. They want you to be making, which is an insane amount of money.
So it's a very fast-paced market. It's like when you find an apartment, then you need to jump on it and you have to apply and be approved.
And there are application fees.
Yeah, that's on top of everything else.
Non-refundable application fees.
So yeah, you want to jump on anything that you find very, very quickly. It's very fast-paced, which is, you know, not always feasible, you know, depending on, you know, what's going on. Because you have to have all that money that you need right then.
Yeah, like you have to write them the checks right then. Well, actually, you have to get like money orders. You can't just write a personal check. So you have to like go to the bank and it's like a whole big thing. So now I just wanted to touch on kind of like the New York lifestyle a little bit and adjusting to it. So the biggest thing that I was not prepared for was, and I don't want to say this and make it sound bad, but New York is dirty. And
it's just a big city with a lot of people moving through it.
And Texas, like where we grew up, is not. I'm used to like everything being super clean. There's not like bugs everywhere and stuff. And in New York, it is inevitable. You will either have roaches, mice, or both.
Yeah.
It's just
the buildings are old. I
mean, you can be the cleanest person in the world. We are very clean. We keep our apartment very clean, and we've had both. It's just the price you pay to live in New York. It's just how it is. I mean, we have an exterminator come every month. It's not like things aren't being taken care of. It's just, it is what it is in New York. You just become one with the mice, you know.
Name them. That's what we did. They gave them names. And
R.I.P. Susie. Yeah. It's interesting, but the good thing was, in my dorm, we did not have this issue. So like,
you were higher up.
I was really high up. But yeah, we didn't have bugs or anything in our dorm. So my whole first year here, I still didn't quite understand that was a thing here. And then when we moved into our first apartment, lots of fun, lots of fun. Roaches in New York get ginormous, like literally like that big. And some of them fly, some of them climb on your ceilings. Not fun. So we were, like I think we said before, we were on the 6th floor. By the time they get up to the 6th floor, They're full-grown adults, which is a plus of living on the first floor here, because I think we've been here almost 2 years now. I've seen 2 in our entire 2 years here that have been big. The rest are like babies, so like you can easily get rid of them. But yeah, we had some fun nights in that other apartment. They never like.
I'm the designated bug killer.
She is.
Somehow I got that role. I don't really understand how I got that role.
It's just the price that you pay. I'm just like a freak and really have a phobia of them, but like they're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I
know it's a fact of life, so it is what it is, and that's the attitude I have. Yeah, okay, I see you. Okay, now please leave my apartment.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like move because I see a bug.
Yeah. The mouse issue is more easily fixable because they don't reproduce as fast. So once you catch them and you have someone like fill in all the holes possible around your apartment, you're good to go. So it's a little easier. It's just you'll have some furry friends for a minute. It's fine.
Or 2 weeks.
I'm pretty sure it was like a month. But. Another big thing for me, this doesn't bother Ashley as much, but it's that like you don't have a car, so you have to carry everything with you. So like grocery shopping, like you don't go on like one big grocery haul for like 2 weeks. Like you have to go to the store like every other day.
Which isn't difficult because there's stores on every corner.
It's very true.
It's not like you need to, you know, go stock up because you aren't going to be by a store again for 3 weeks. That's not the case at all. There is a plethora of opportunity.
Yeah,
it's just a different way to think about stuff than maybe what you're used to.
Yeah, and even if like you go on a big shopping spree, you know, that's
what cabs are
for. You gotta carry a lot of stuff. Or when you're moving and you need to go to IKEA, how are you getting that stuff home?
Uber!
Which we did do. Very expensive, very expensive. But, you know, so I mean, you can have a car here. Yeah. It's just very expensive.
You can easily rent a car. Like, it's not needed. You don't need a car.
You don't need it, no. It's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that was hard for me. Especially because I moved here at 18. I had only been driving for 2 years. So I was like just getting used to, you know, that sort of lifestyle. And then it was kind of like taken from me.
Yeah, it's like she misses driving.
I do. I love driving.
I hate driving.
So something that I've been trying to understand, like this is like my 6th year, I think, living here, is why New Yorkers have such a bad reputation of like being mean.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
I really don't understand that because anyone will help you. Like people stop me all the time on the streets to like take pictures of them, and that's no big deal, or ask directions. But I think one of the big things is, especially when like Southerners come to New York, they just want to chit chat, and it's like the small talk, and I think that's what gets them. It's more like get to the point. Like everyone will help you, but just don't be like, hi, sorry, like here on vacation, I'm not sure like where to go. Like no, just be like, I'm trying to get to the Met, where do I go? And they will answer you. It's just like, don't be so like small talky. New Yorkers don't like the small talk.
New York's just very fast paced. Everybody, you know, is always on their way to do something somewhere. And they just don't have a lot of patience for people that are not in that mindset. Yeah. So which is why I completely avoid Midtown, because that's where all of the tourists congregate. So just walk at a fast pace. Stay to the right. We are in America, and so stay to the right, not the left. Let people, don't walk like 4 people across on the sidewalk. Walk like almost single file so that people can get by you. If you are not walking at a pace appropriate to New York. And yeah, the chit chat thing, you know, just don't talk to people on the subway. Don't make eye contact with people on the subway. No. Everybody that is on the subway is generally like on their way to or from work. That's like their decompressing time. Just like you may like spend your time driving to and from your job on a daily basis, like listening to the radio and like unwinding, getting pumped for the day. You know, the New Yorkers on the subways, you know, they have their headphones in. And,
everyone just knows that everyone's like in their own space, and everyone in New York is pretty independent. Yeah. Like she said with the headphones. Always have headphones in. I have headphones in as I'm grocery shopping. I'm on the phone, you know, talking to people, like
multitasking.
Always. Like everyone's just kind of like in their own world and doing their own thing. But And I think that can come off as maybe like intimidating or rude because it's not so like, hey, how you doing?
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, it's not like that. But I mean, no one's mean. Like, I've never had any experience of someone being, you know, rude or unhelpful. Everyone's there to help you. It's just, it's more get to the point.
You have to ask for help. It's not going to be volunteered.
Yes.
In most cases.
But it will be happily given if
Yeah.
you ask.
Yeah.
So New Yorkers shouldn't have a bad rep.
And they come together during like events that like I've never seen.
Yeah.
Like snowstorms, like everybody's helping each other.
Yeah.
You know, everybody.
New Yorkers got
feels
New Yorkers
like,
back for
absolutely.
sure.
Like I've never felt that in another city like I do here.
Yeah. So last but not least, because we've rambled on for like 40 minutes now, I just wanted to talk a little bit, like if you're kind of on the fence, you're not sure if you want to move to New York, not sure if it's for you, wanted to just tell you some of the great things about this city. Number one, most important, the food. I mean, you can get any sort of cuisine here, ever. Like, I hate when we go back home to Dallas and we're there for like Christmas and I'm like, God, if I could just like order some Indian food right now. But it's just like, I'm sure there are like restaurants in Dallas, obviously, but the fact that, can you get it delivered? Like, I don't want to drive 30 minutes to go. You know, it's just like, you can get anything at the snap of your fingers, any sort of cuisine. I mean, my food palette has definitely expanded since I've moved here because there's just so many great options for any appetite. You know, if you have any sort of food allergies, anything, like you can find whatever you want here, which I think is phenomenal.
Like, don't eat at chains.
No.
Here,
like the little hole-in-the-wall restaurants is where it's at.
It's really, really hard to find a bad meal here. That's probably like my one most frequently asked question of people visiting is, where should I eat? And the thing is that there are millions of restaurants in this city.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we have our favorites. Have we even begun to visit a quarter of them? No. I mean,
because there's just so many.
Yeah. And it's really, as long as you stay away from the chains, and you some of those restaurants congregated around Midtown Times Square area, and get out a little bit, you are not gonna have a bad meal.
Yeah,
promise
sure.
You're not.
Another great thing is that there's so many free things to do in the city. New York kind of has this like rep of like being so expensive, but it's,
which it is.
It is, but it's not. I've been to so many more cities around the world who are way more expensive than New York is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's just because we know New York so well and we know the things to like spend money on and what not to.
Yeah.
But there's so many free things to do. I mean, number one, just walk around and look at the architecture. Take in the city. You know, all the parks are free. A lot of the museums are pay as you wish.
And there's also, even if you want a little history, I think that there are free walking tours too, where maybe like they ask again for like a donation or tip at the end, but you know, that way you can see some stuff and you can learn some stuff. But I mean, there's so many things that are expensive about the city, but if you're on a tight budget, there's so much that you can get out of the city for no money at all.
Absolutely. And one of my personal favorites is that this is New York. Almost every single musical artist will play a show in New York or New Jersey, like right here where you can like easily get to. Like, everyone plays a show in New York. So I've gotten to see so many amazing bands that have never even been to Texas that I've gotten to see here, which I think is so cool. Like, that's a reason for me. There was one year where like Alex and I were at a concert like every week.
Yeah.
Like for a while.
Because they play these, I mean, they're not playing Madison Square Garden. They're playing
some of them are,
but most of them, especially the
smaller bands that I like,
are playing these smaller like ballroom venues.
They're like $20 a ticket.
Yeah, that you go and it's standing room only, and you just, you know, you stand and watch a show for a few hours.
Yeah.
And being able to take advantage of that is so cool.
And last but not least, one of my favorite things is the culture in New York. You are shown so much. Like, you walk down the street, every time I walk out of the apartment, I hear at least 5 different languages being spoken around me, which I think is so cool. I've been introduced to, you know, so much culture in conjunction with all of the traveling that we've done, but I feel like it has also made me more comfortable to travel because on a daily basis, I'm surrounded by all of this different culture. I'm not like stuck in this like little American bubble, and I welcome the culture. I love it. I love learning about it. I love that, you know, probably in our building alone that we live in, I'm sure there's so many languages that are spoken, so many people from different walks of life. I think that's so cool because New York is just like a melting pot for everybody around the world, which I think is so cool. Alright, so I'm so sorry that we just ranted on.
Hopefully that was helpful information.
Yes, I hope it was helpful, but it was very long, so I apologize. But yeah, let us know if, you know, we missed anything, if there's any specific questions about New York that you want us to answer. We can do another video going like more in depth about different things.
Right.
Maybe going way more in depth about apartment hunting and doing all of that. So yeah, definitely leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you want to see, and let us know if this is helpful for you, because we want to hear it. We do.
Absolutely. So give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe, and we'll be back soon with the next video.
Bye. Everyone will help you. Everyone will give you Game of Thrones. Let me just hello. We're filming a video. The cinnamon almond milk macchiato.
Get that, it's good.
Yes, you get a hot. Yep, you're welcome.